Today we're building a chicken coop for my wife's chickens, and I am trying to do this as budget friendly as possible, using as much material I have laying around as I can. One, use up the material so it's not laying around, and two, keep the cost down. So we went and bought some 4x6s, two 8-footers, two 16-footers, and that OSB I had laying around, those 2x4s I had laying around. Went over another piece of property. I have these pressure treated 2x6s here that were on a deck that we took apart. So we have all those we're going to use. And I also have all the boards from my trailer that I took off. We're going to be utilizing those on there, on this as well. So I've got it all started. It's squared. I've half cut, lap cut the ends. And we're going to lag bolt those through. I've just got them clamped and a couple deck screws in it to hold it square. And now what we're going to do is start with up a couple cross braces. This is the bottom side, so we'll flip it over when we're done with the bottom, and then we'll start building the top. But I got some 2x going across every so often to hold the hardware cloth.
Okay, so he's got all of the boards notched and fitted together, and we made sure it's square and level, and he's just putting some deck screws in it right now to hold it, and then we're going to put bigger bolts in there to hold it together. Okay, we already had these 16-foot pressure treated boards that came off of a trailer that we're not going to use again for that. So he's cutting them down to make 2x4s out of it, to put along here to make braces, to make this stronger, and to fasten the screening on the bottom so predators can't dig in there. Okay, so he's got the first brace board in, and he notched it out to sink it down into the other wood, which will make it a lot stronger. So to notch this out, to put the brace in, he's just cutting strips. Like this. And then he'll take his chisel and trim it out. Okay, so we finished the braces on the frame, and we flipped it over, which was not easy with just the two of us, but we made it. And we are putting, I call it screen, but it's not. It's actually made for stucco, to put stucco up, We got it free on the back of a truck that we bought, and it's actually a little bit tougher than hardware cloth, because I bought hardware cloth, but we had more of this. It was free, and it's tougher, and it's easier to work with. It bends easier. So we're putting this on the bottom. I know it looks like it's high up, but we have this frame propped up, so it'll be really close to the ground. And then I'm using sand in the coop, so there's going to be plenty of sand above it, so they can't, like, they won't be against the screen at all. But we just have a few more panels of that to go, and then we're going to start, I don't know what the next step is, the coop or the framing for the run, so not sure how he has it planned out, because he just does everything in his head and does it as he goes along. So we'll bring you back when we get to the next step.
We also get a ton of rain, and our ground here does not have great drainage. So what we've chose to do is, where we're going to put this coop, we're going to elevate that area with pea gravel and then a layer of sand. We'll set this coop on it. We're going to put pea gravel on top of this gravel that's larger than these holes, so that we don't plug them up. After that layer of pea gravel, we're going to put landscaping fabric in here. The landscaping fabric will go on top, then the layer of sand. A lot of people are going to say the chickens like to scratch and dig and carry on, and I get it. But I'm going to tell you, this right here is already over 4 inches deep, and we have another almost 3 inches on top of that. So we're talking 7 inches deep of material. I think it's going to be fine. We'll watch the chickens. If it's not fine, we'll make an adjustment. But for where we're at, the idea of putting that hardware cloth out here and burying it, or digging a trench and burying it, just isn't nowhere near as comfortable and as comforting, I should say. It's nowhere near as comforting as knowing that the whole entire bottom is predator proof. We may have to make some other changes to it and add to it, whatever. I'm okay with that. I would much rather have the whole entire bottom protected than not have it protected. So, I just need to say this, because so many times in social media, you have people that are quick to start doing this before they engage the old noggin and realize that maybe your situation isn't the same as our situation. It may not be the same, may not be ideal, but it's what's going to work for us. And I brought it around the edges, and we stapled it up all the way around. When we do the sides, we'll be using either that or hardware cloth, one or the other, and it will overlap that on the inside, and then we'll have a board that sandwiches it together. And I got all the lag bolts in. I countersunk the heads so they'd be down low, because we're going to have to move this. So the next step for us is we're going to build the coop. I'm going to build the coop and the run kind of as one structure, and then partition it off. So that's what we're after next. So we got the posts up, which are going to be the corners. I'm using 4x4s just for the ease of the fact that I have them, and I don't build a corner out of 2x4s. So what I did was cut in a notch for the 2x4 to rest in on either side, and that is going to be our rim joist of sorts, and our floor joists are going to screw into the side of it. I've also notch cut the tops of them because we're going to run a header across to support the roof. Now, I don't need a header this big. This is only 6-foot span. It's what I have. I'm using the lumber from my trailer project, the decking, the old floors. I'm going to use it on this because this is a chicken coop, and chickens are just going to crap all over everything. So we'll get new lumber for my trailer and use that stuff up here. So we've got this in, and we have plumbed up all of our 4x4s. We plumbed them up this way and then this way. So what are you doing over there?
I'm hungry, and my hands are dirty, so I was trying to.
It's not even lunchtime yet, I don't think. Anyway, so it's important to start with a level base, because you're going to work off of something level. So when you go to plumb this, if this isn't level and it's sitting, let's say it's sitting like this, and then you try and plumb up that post, you're going to plumb that post to something crooked. So when you do get it leveled, it's going to be like this. So it's very important that everything is plumbed on both ways. You're sitting level before you start building. So next thing we're going to do is I'm cutting my floor joists. I'm putting 16 on center 2x4s. They're just chickens. That's more than enough. So we're using, again, all the used lumber that we can, everywhere we can, especially right there. And yeah, my wife's pulling nails out of stuff and I'm cutting it to length. You can't make this stuff up. Look at this. This is where my floor joist goes. I mean, this was like total, pure, dumb luck. You just can't make that stuff up. Some of the lumber we're using is kind of twisted, warped. So I'm just putting a clamp on here, give me a little bit of leverage, and I can twist it up where I want it. Screw it into place and she'll stay. Alright, so one thing to keep in mind is the fact that we're making this chicken coop so it can be moved. Alright, so there's a reason, not just the fact that I overbuild everything, but because it one day maybe need to be moved because maybe she don't want chickens anymore, or maybe we don't live here anymore and we want to move somewhere else. Now, I've got the floor just about finished up. As far as the floor joist is concerned, I put in spacer blocks in here to tie those two together to make it stronger. Same thing over here. I added this 4x4 in the middle because I'm going to have OSB plus a door right here. You'd be going in and out of it a lot. And a door will be hanging on that. So I split the difference, put it right in the middle, added those blocks there. Now I am out of 4x4s. I have 2 left, and the best calculation I got, I need 4 more posts total. And I was going to get 12 footers, just cut them in half because I only need 6 feet. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get 8s, and I'm going to take the 2-foot cutoffs, and I'm just going to come in here at 2 foot and 4 foot and just add a little more support to that because I also have OSB on this side and I'll have a splice there as well. So that's what we're going to do. That's where we're at. We're going to go grab some more screws and some 4x4s. I was going to nail this together, but I thought being though it may need to be moved, screws aren't a bad idea. They're not a bad option. The header's cut in at the top and they're all in, and the posts are all plumbed up. So now that's got this side started. Now we're going to set the posts on this side and do the same thing. So you can see how the coop is going to be up above this, and this will be the height of the sidewall, and then we'll do either a 412 or a 612 pitch up here with an open ceiling so we can have a taller door. So we'll build a couple steps to get up in there for her. What do you think, lady? She likes it. Just keep moving. We're over another property gathering up some material I had laying around. Some 4x4s, 2x6s, and some new 2x4s. And a couple old windows. You riding back there?
No.
Why not?
No.
It's insulated.
Yeah, but it's very rough.
We've got the side stud walls all in place. Bottom plate, brought it up, notched it at the header all the way across, and screwed the header into it. Did that same thing on that side. Next step is I need to get a top plate up here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but the header, you know, it goes in and out. The posts are not exactly perfectly straight. So I'll take a 2x4, which is going to be one of these. I'm going to rip down. We'll set it on top, and then we'll screw through this board as we use a string to get it straight. And then what we'll do is the same thing over there. Then we'll establish our width so that we're square, and we'll start on the roof. All the I have to commit to a design for the pitch of the roof. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. All of this is kind of by the seat of my pants. I don't draw this stuff out. I just kind of, you know, figure it out. It'll be fine. All right, I got my top plate on. All I did was take one of these 2x8s from my trailer project and ripped them down. And what we did is took a string down that side and manipulated the wall to make it straight so we could make sure that we are going to be perfectly perfectly even at the front and the back and everything. And then we went and established the width at the top and bottom and squared this way, and then put our temporary 2x4s in up here to keep it, because now we're ready to start on the rafters. Rafters are going to be repurposed from actually a porch that we took down. It was a big lean-to porch. We took it off a house at another property, and we're just going to reuse them here. I'm getting ready to set a ridge beam. Ridge beam is used in rafters, and it is basically just like this, a board like this that's in the peak that the rafters terminate into on either side. I want to use this from my trailer. This is a 2x8 that's been cut down, and before I do it, I wanted to inspect it, and the camera's not showing it the same as what it is, but it has a crown this way, which is about a 1/2 inch of a crown up. So we're going to use that to our advantage and leave it crowned up, even though it's not symmetrical crown. We're going to deal with it. So the next thing I want to do is get a temporary board in the center up here where our peak's going to be, so that we can secure this to it. The other thing we're going to do is make sure that that end is plumb with the end of our wall right here, because that is effectively going to be the end of this wall. Well, I laid this out with a 412 pitch, and it wasn't steep enough. There wasn't enough height inside the coop, so we have gone to a 612 pitch, which, for those of you that are not familiar, it means for every 12 inches of horizontal travel on a roof, the pitch, the amount that it raises is 612. So a 412 would mean for every length of travel horizontally, it would rise 4 inches. So if you look at it like this, if this was a foot, a 412 pitch would be about right there, and a 612 would mean it raises 6 inches. That's how you come up with your pitch. All right, so all the rafters are cut and they are in. That board right there has one heck of a crown up. We were going to cut it out, but then we would lose material, and we decided to just leave it like it is. We ran a string from the front to the back so that we can get all of our rafters on either side at the right location, and it turned out okay. We did this bird's mouth kind of locking cut right there. Bad example. The edges are kind of shadowed, so it's hard to see, but it goes up and over like that, so it's locked in and it can't move. Now what I need to do is go underneath these and take a 2x4 from one to the other. That'll help hold it and help keep it from sagging. We'll also put a partition wall here. We'll add some support there. We'll have full support here at this partition wall, and we'll have support out there. So it's actually that that's actual 6-inch wide piece of 2x is only going to stretch right about 10 foot. All right, so we finished up the wall framing. So this is the way this is going to set is that will be facing the north. This will be facing the south. Our breeze usually comes in this direction like this. So we framed in for a window up here and a window here so we can get that cross breeze coming through that coop. We looked at windows, and we were going to use just some cheapy storm windows that Lowe's had, and yeah, they were just kind of crappy, and it would have been more work to put them on top of what we were going to do. So for just a few dollars more, we ended up with these. They're just a single hung window, but you know, they got a built-in J-channel and nailing flange and all that. So we're going to use those. They don't have low E or argon. I don't think the chickens will complain, will they? No. Now we're done with this. We're going to move on to sheathing. Got 3 sides of our OSB up, and everything's cut out. Ready to go. We got that window ended up being exactly centered in that little opening. It worked out pretty good. We got the other one framed in over there. I pulled all my planks out that I was using to walk on, because now we're going to get on to OSB on this side. It would be far easier for me to put the 4-foot piece in the center and then do a section over on this side and a small section on that side, because that one, you know, be very easy to do, or much easier I should say. But strength wise, we're better if I take the 4 foot into the center, and actually it's less than 4 foot because I'm trying to stay under 8'6" wide with the fascia. So anyways, it's much stronger if I go across this way, right up that center beam, and then cut around all this stuff. But we'll see what happens. I'm not exactly sure where you left off. Sometimes you just get working, you forget about the camera. All the sheathing is finished, all the windows are framed in. I have not cut in the chicken door because my wife is going to be using that, whatever you call it, depth of bedding in here. And once she gives me a final number on what that height is, I'm going to rip something to go around the edges above that height, just to keep the bedding from getting it down inside the wall and all that. Might be a little easier to clean up, I don't know. And then the chicken door is going to go above that, and then that will dictate where the nesting boxes go. The idea is to make this as simple to take care of as possible for her, which is one of the reasons why it's at this height. She can bring her wheelbarrow over for here when she's in here working, clean it all up, and just scoop it right in the wheelbarrow. I bought some windows. They're those little vinyl single hung windows. They have a screen in them, but the screen's worthless. Benefits of it, it's a pre-made window, right? It's a nice easy solution to windows. What's not nice about them is you have to go inside to open them. You can't just walk by the coop and, you know, open the windows. You have to get inside the coop to open it. So it is what it is. The good thing is, if you want to open both windows, you have to get in the coop, but you don't have to get in the coop and get in the run. So that is going to be beneficial. Now, our way we're going to set this thing is it points north, this side points south. So it's important to have windows on the south facing so we get good sunlight. Our breeze usually comes this way, so that's why we put the windows diagonal, so we get a nice cross ventilation through there, and it should keep the chicken coop pretty cool. Not to mention, we're going to have a ridge vent all the way down the whole entire thing in the coop and in the run. We've been working on the end. We got our temporary board still in place. This is where the door for the coop goes. So the plan here is, again, it's overkill. I'm using what we have. That's why you're seeing such large size lumber. Mostly it's what we had. This is our door, 30 inches wide. So that way, if my wife wants to get the wheelbarrow in, she has plenty of room to do that. Make getting in and out easy. I've notched these. These are not structural, they're just holding the door. So I've notched these to put a 2x4 in, and it'll come over here to this corner and stay open where the door is, and the same thing over here. I'm not going to notch the corners. I don't want to lose any strength out of my corners. So the purpose of that is our hardware cloth is going to go down over top of that and come up, and our joint, 36-inch hardware cloth, is going to be right here. So we're going to staple it on the inside, and then the other piece will go up into here, so we can staple that on the back side of the next one that'll be in here, and we'll have this closed off. This gable end is going to be closed off with our finished material, so that will not be open. We're going to close that in. It'll help keep some of the driving rain out. Again, our weather comes in this way, so that will help to give us a little protection over top of the run, being the way it's going to be faced. So that being said, next thing I got to do is a little bit more here. I got some cross bracing to do, and I'm going to cut my purlings in. I'm going to notch that 4x4 right there, just like this one. This side, it'll dead end in here. We're just going to screw it into the corner, and over here it'll just dead end into the coop. So I got to mark that out and cut for that. Same thing over here. Lay our purling in, and that'll be ready for hardware cloth. I'd like to get all this done and start building my simple doors.
So this is hardware cloth, and we're gonna cut it and put it in the metal brake to bend it to put it on the soffit area, so predators can't climb up there and get through that space. And he just cut a strip off using the angle grinder because it's so much quicker than side cuts. So we're gonna try and get it bent here. Okay, it's the first bend. I'll come and help you hold it. I mean, if you were building a coop, you certainly wouldn't have to go out and buy a metal brake, but we happen to have one, so why not use it? He decided to use his air stapler because it's so much quicker.
All right, that worked out pretty well. It's all laid in there real nice and straight, and then we took more of this old recycled lumber we're using from something else. It was an old 2x6 from a porch we cut down, and we cut an angle up here on the top so it would match the angle of the roof and the rafters. And then we took more of this old trailer boards and ripped them down to 2x4s and made, I guess they're called rake boards. I don't know, I'm not a carpenter. Cut them up here. We have siding going up here, and it's going to come out about that far, and I'd like the water to come off the roof and the rainwater to come down the side but not behind the siding. So I don't want this exposed. I don't want to have to paint anything, so we're gonna probably try and trim this out here. And same thing on the fascia boards on this side. Well, both sides. We're gonna trim all this, or yeah, cover all this, hopefully with aluminum, so we don't ever have to paint it or mess with it. We got this side done, so we're all done here. We are ready now for the roof sheathing. I wanted to get this on so that I could run the roof sheathing out right here to the face. We're gonna make I'm not buying any drip edge. I'm gonna make it, and same thing for over here. I'm gonna make the drip edge because you know, I'm not spending any money. I don't want to spend any money. I don't absolutely positively have to right now. The idea of this build is to use what we have to make the nicest chicken coop we can with what we have and keep the budget under $1,500. As of right now, I am at just under $500, and that includes the 2 vinyl windows that I bought at Lowe's. These are new windows here. I just opened that one up, and there's the other one. So we are right at $500 in this chicken coop. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And yeah, next, so we have to do is I need 5 sheets of OSB for the roof. I have tar paper. I have the nails. We're going to use a ridge vent. What is it? I can't remember what it's called. It looks like cardboard, but it's plastic, and it folds over and you nail through it and put your tabs on top. It's not 16 feet. I want to say there's 12 foot, so we'll come in so far each way and split the difference. It'll be just fine. I'm thinking I'm going to put a vent up here, one of those octagon vents or something in the end of it. Not necessary, just try to let as much heat escape out of there in the summer as we can. But hopefully we keep our costs down, continue to watch the budget. I want to be under $1,500 in the whole entire coop. Probably going to end it here because, man, we got so much more to do, and it's getting long already. So hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's not a normal thing, but it is what it is. We'll catch you on the next one.